Good afternoon. Welcome to the Midday Mull for Thursday, the 22nd of January. With McShane, we're working our way through the book of Nehemiah, today reading chapter 12. The city was rebuilt, the temple was rebuilt, and now worship is established. And reflecting on the passage could take me a couple of hours, but I'll try and keep it short and sweet. In verse 41 we read, "At that time men were appointed to be in charge of the storerooms for the contributions, first fruits, and tithes." So people were encouraged to bring, and people were put in charge of the giving to make sure it was properly managed. Earlier on in the book of Chronicles and Kings, we read how people stopped giving, and therefore the Levites and the priests went home. They left the temple and went back home to farm, and the worship suffered. And so as Nehemiah reestablishes it, he ensures that the right administration, the right systems are put in place to manage the giving properly. And then a few verses later in verse 47, we're told, "So in the days of Zerubbabel and of Nehemiah, all Israel contributed the daily portions for the musicians and the gatekeepers." And as I read that, I saw it was all Israel. It was not the heads of the families. It was not the wealthy. It was not just the elite that contributed. All Israel gave. And it's one of the principles of tithing, that it's proportional. The more you have, the more you're expected to give. And if you only have a little, you give a little. If you have a lot, you give a lot. But all Israel contributed. And it's possible to see that as a bit of an imposition on people. But in the New Testament, we're not told how much to give, but we're told to give generously. And Paul, writing about the giving of the Macedonian church, says that they eagerly pleaded with him for the privilege of sharing in the ministry. And they saw giving as a privilege. And God doesn't need all Israel to give. God doesn't need all Christians to give. God says, "The cattle on 1,000 hills are mine. I have everything. I don't need anything from you." But we need the privilege of giving. And just the thought that what we give makes a difference to what God does. God doesn't override our giving. God doesn't work around our giving. He asks us to give and relies on us to give and expects us to give. And when we don't, he holds back. And so we have this tremendous privilege that all Israel contributed to the daily offerings. All Christians are expected to give for the work of the kingdom. We serve a God who so loved the world that he gave his only Son. And as his children, it becomes part of our nature that we too give for the work of God in the world. So be encouraged with that thought that God relies on us. He doesn't have to, but he does. He relies on us to give. And we have this privilege of giving, and it's a privilege that is given to all people, all Christians, all members of Israel were giving, not just the select few. So be encouraged by that thought. Be challenged by that thought. Know that we are blessed, and our giving doesn't buy blessing. Our giving is in a response to the blessings we've received. Go well.